Ernie, you're here, buddy.
Three
times in a row.
3 times in a row.
You've only got 2 more podcasts to make up, and then I can give you back your bracket racer card.
I wouldn't bet on me, man. You know, things happen. You know,
that's why
I got friends that own Fords, and you know, I just keep my toolbox in my truck. And that's not for my vehicle. It's, you know, you got to help a brother out sometimes.
Yeah, well, you did say that you were babying your radiator all the way here in your Chevy.
I got a cracked Chevy radiator, and that thing still runs better than the Ford on good days. But
I'm sure it did. I'm sure it did. Yeah. Anyway, we have got another guest today. Episode 21, Bojack. Welcome very much, buddy.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Yeah.
Bojack in the house.
Yeah. So,
AKA Blue Yeti.
Blue Yeti. So, like we start every single podcast, what got you into this world of horrible financial decisions?
First and foremost, I like to say, or giving honor to God for even giving me the life, health, and strength to even financially afford a race car, and much less live this dream that we're all chasing daily to get faster and faster. But
amen.
Let's see, long time ago, my Uncle Donnie used to take me to Harold's Raceway.
Mm-hmm.
Way back when they used to do a little dash for cash bracket racing. Back then, you know, I didn't know numbers or times. I just knew, ooh, you know, that car smelled good. It was loud. That cam's thumping. I always dreamed of having a nice, fast race car from there. And it was all the way up to, like, let's see, 4th grade or so. I used to have, like, a bicycle, and I used to tote it around with, like, a red Ryder wagon. Just dreaming, like, oh, I'm pulling in the track with my little race car, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Just dreaming about it.
Did you ever do like I did and had the playing card with the clothespin on the spokes?
Oh, man, I've done it all. I had a soda can in the back making noise. About everything you could think of on that thing. R.I.P. to my mom's coffee table. That thing had all kind of Hot Wheel marks on it.
She wasn't using it.
Sure wasn't.
Yeah.
But yeah, trying to think what else. I think my first pass I had a 02 Mustang stick shift, little 2-valve. That thing was slow. More I look back at it, but I was having fun with
Taking off like a herd of turtles.
Sure was. I used to call it Jose Swervo. Because that first to second gear, little launch, and then grab second real quick and snatch it back. Oh, yeah. She's swerving, but that was about it. Third gear, she's flat on her face.
Mm-hmm.
So we went to Harold's with it, shook it down. It felt pretty good. I was still new to drag racing. Everybody looking at me like, what's this guy doing? You about like 2, 3, 4 feet from the line. I'm trying to inch into it, you know. Just trying to learn all the basics.
Mm-hmm.
But I was like, man, that pass felt real good. I must be running in the 6s or something. Got my slip. It was like a 10 something. I was like, oh, Lord. Everybody else make this look so easy. I never knew how hard it was financially either.
When you pull out a track, it'd run a 7. But when you pull on that track down, it run like an 8 or a 9 or a 10.
That's been one of my favorite things I've said is, you know, you and I run in some of the same circles, you know. There's some guys I'm sure you've seen, like, they'll tell you, I've got a 1,500 horsepower, blah, 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 street car. I roll race that thing. Like, they'll claim all these big claims, right?
Yeah.
And if you can ever get them to the track, they are quickly humbled, you know, because it doesn't lie. That time slip doesn't lie, right? And it's you know, they think they've got this big, badass machine because it makes noise.
Exactly.
You know, put a cold air intake on it. Oh, it must have picked up at least 100 horsepower, right? It's like, no.
Yeah, I call that, that's your Walmart parking lot racers there. You know, they look good, sound good. They might jump on a little freeway and do a little quick 60 to whatever they can get to at whatever time, which doesn't equal much to us drag racers, right? So, nothing against roll racing. I know the real fast guys out there in Texas with the GTRs and stuff. I'd stay away from them, but
those things are nuts.
That's a whole nother topic, you know, compared to those Walmart parking lot pimps.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there was speaking of those GTRs, 2 years ago at TX2K, they actually shortened the track for the roll racing because the guys were going too fast.
Mm-hmm.
And there was a guy who'd built a GTR, and his only purpose being there was he wanted to break the record, you know, for roll racing in a GTR for the mile an hour. They don't do it timed; it's just mile an hour is the only record you're trying to break. And they shortened the track by, I think it was like 150 feet. Like,
oh man,
that's a lot,
Yeah.
right? And he was like, God, like I can't break the record now, but he still did. He still managed to break the record. And he was running like 90 pounds of boost in that sucker. Those things make ridiculous amounts of boost. And he was just like, you know what? Screw it. I'm going to still break the record anyway. Turn that sucker up to 11 and just sent it. You know, I think it was his second pass. He broke the record.
Did he
going
have to
down there.
bleed the boost off when he hit the return road like a nitrous car? I mean,
Yeah,
90
like-
pounds. Wow.
Yeah.
Those GTRs run insane power, and it's a V6. Like, it's not a V8 or anything like that. It's a V6, twin turbo setup, and it's, if you watch the in car, it is insane because the front of that car comes up and it never comes back down again.
Exactly.
Right, and those things are like go like this down the track because it's radials on the front and it's slicks on the rear, right, to get it up on the wheel speed. And that guy is just driving the crap out of that thing. I think it was like 270 miles an hour or something like that. Nuts.
Mighty.
Yeah, and they didn't do it again this year because they moved it to Enos, Texas.
Think so,
Yeah, because Houston obviously no longer
It's
is.
gone.
He's gone. So, but yeah, that was those GTRs are nuts. You know, I want to see Tyler's. I want to see Tyler break out his Tyler
Yeah.
Carey. Yeah,
Yeah.
he keeps talking about it, but I haven't seen it.
Exactly.
Yeah. So, you're probably best known in our circle of racing for Blue Yeti. You know, where did that car come from? Where did the name come from? You know, what's been kind of the path of that car?
So once I traded in Jose Swervo, all my other friends, they had like Coyotes, my uncle and my cousin. That's usually my pit crew, right? So
Mhm.
they all got Coyotes. You know, you always try to roll in the pack. You're driving somewhere to like kickback jacks or something, you know, and just post up. But I was getting left. I'm like, oh my gosh, y'all slow down some. I got to play catch up back here. And they were just leaving me. So
I'm not
like,
trying
man.
to go to prison.
Yeah. They do it with ease. I'm back there shifting gears, sweating. It's too much of a work for me.
Turn the air conditioner off so
Yeah.
you can you have that horsepower.
Give me everything.
Yeah, so I seen a Coyote that night. I think it was in Goldsboro. I think it was a classic Jeep or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, oh man, they got a blue one. It's got like one of those Tesla screens in it. I'm going to go and get that. So I went and got it, brought it back to the house. I was like, man, now I got to get a name for it. You know, everybody with like a grabber blue Mustang, they always call it Smurf or Papa Smurf or something of that nature. I'm like, man, what's different that's mean, but you could still make it a little bit animated? It's like, let's see. Blue Papa? No, somebody's probably got that. And I said, oh, Blue Yeti, that sounds pretty mean, like the Abominable Snowman.
Mm-hmm.
I said, let's go with that. So I found a easy little picture offline, and it was like from a horror movie or something. So I reached out to them. I was like, hey, can I use this picture, you know, on the back of my car? But nobody reached back out to me. So I guess it was something they just sketched and just threw it away, or just a clip from a horror movie. I was like, all right, that's it. Then the Blue Yeti it is. So from there, it just stuck.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
So, what the car was completely NA, completely stock when you got it. What's
Yep.
been the path that you've taken on this car?
Cold air. Let's see. It had like a small tune on it. It wasn't much. And then took it to Harold's, shook that down. That was back when my buddy Lorenzo Martin was promoting out there at Harold's.
Oh, yeah,
He was
old
catching more
Lorenzo.
traction. Shout out to Lorenzo Martin.
We're gonna try and get him on the podcast.
Yeah, definitely do.
We have to get with his secretary. He's a busy man.
He's a busy man. Yes.
Sure
We have
is.
to catch him between tracks.
Yeah.
Definitely. But yeah, we shook it down there at Harold's, you know, and then I had a grudge race lined up. Dude named Quan Jones. Right now he's driving that slime car, the green one, that Challenger.
Oh, they just called out Logan.
Yeah.
I don't know what they're doing calling out Logan, man. That's,
I don't know. They beat the hometown hero, so you know how that go.
yeah, I guess so.
They must see something they like.
Yeah, they must
'Cause-
think they got something for him.
I don't know. I'm not in that battle.
Yeah, yeah. I just know I know roughly where Logan's at with that car, and I've only seen Slime make a couple passes, and I'm like, yeah, I mean it's fast, but I don't think it's that fast,
Yeah.
you know. But I guess we'll have to see.
If they do it, hopefully it'll be at Darlington.
No, they want
Like
to
a
do it at
neutral
Rico.
track.
They're trying to force it at Rico. It's a 5 on 2,500, so
Ooh, that's nice.
that's a
Nice spot there.
it's a nice pot, and I think it's up to 4,000 now actually. Like like
Shoo.
side bets, and people throw more money into it.
Yeah.
So, but Brian and Logan said yes, so they said they're going to do it.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
gotta film that one. Make sure
Yeah.
see the finish line part of it.
yeah.
But yeah, Quan Jones, shout out to him. He had an Infinity, and back then I ain't know much about those Infinities, how good they are.
You
I
know,
used to
you know
have
anybody
one.
used to have an Infinity?
G35 or G37.
think it was a 37. It might have been 35. I'm not sure. I ain't too hip on the Infinities.
Mm-hmm.
But I looked at it, I was like, man, I just got to win. I just, whacked somebody else's butt off the track. And he was like, you want to give me the back tire? I'm like, sure, man. I ain't scared of no Infinity. What you going to do to me?
Mm-hmm.
And so he took off, and I'm shifting gears. I'm like, uh-oh. I'm not pulling him in as quick as I thought I am. And he left me. And ever since then, I said, man, hell with this MT82.
Yep.
So that night I went and was like, oh, should I spend this money? I was like, I ain't getting beat by an Infinity again. Put it in the car. Send it. And that's what the Turbo 400 came in at.
It hurts when you see that $8,000 go away.
Yeah.
That's about what it costs.
Yep.
Because I'm sure your kit came with everything too.
Yep.
Yeah, it's Turbo 400, converter, block-off plates that you need for a couple, to get rid of the clutch stuff, and then the drive shaft.
Yep, exactly.
Yeah. So, but man, what a difference it makes.
A whole lot of difference, but a lot of people always say, man, why don't you just go 6R80 like everybody else and still be overdrive? Well, at that time, COVID had hit, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So all the tracks were closed, and getting material for that 6R was a crazy lead time. So I said, man, if I can get a 400, I can go to anybody's garage, an old man's garage, and get some parts,
Mm-hmm.
clutches, and everything else I might need. So that was the financial decision. So it was like, spend $8,000 here on something that can really hold the power down the road, or spend $7-8 here with the overdrive that you might have to get rebuilt every now and then because it's overdrive. It wasn't really meant to see that much power.
Yeah, and the more I see Zach and Logan and all them mess with those 6R80s, I'm like, yeah, I'm glad I didn't go that route because they're pulling those suckers out all the time and fixing them.
Yeah, but they getting all the races right now though. That's the only downside.
Yeah.
It's hot right now.
Yeah, that is true.
It is hot. True. And right now we're fighting for our life trying to just fit in any class.
Mm-hmm.
Because they want to say, oh, Turbo 400, okay, well, if you got that, you fit in all steel, all glass. But we both know all steel, all glass with our cars, that's a lot of weight.
Yeah, you're about
trying to push.
Yeah, I mean, I'm guessing you're still around the 3,800-pound range.
Yeah, we heavy.
Yeah.
Real heavy.
Yeah, you're about.
Yeah.
You're eating about 700 pounds on them deals.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing people don't understand about the S550. So we're both S550 drivers, just in case anybody didn't know that. Like they were like what 41 when you get them
heavy.
stock, and you got to take you got to fight to take weight out of those things. You do something, you're like, oh man, that should be like 35 pounds out of the car, and you do it, it's like 10.
Easy, yeah.
Yeah, and like you have to do pretty drastic stuff like carbon doors and K members and all this stuff just to drop weight out of them,
and it's not small money either.
No,
not like a Fox body.
No, I mean, last year I got mine down to 3740, and I felt like I'd taken the AC out of it. I'd taken like all of this stuff out, and it was crazy. Lighter brakes and everything, and it's
got to.
Yeah, it still was heavy.
It's the only downfall we got with them, but yeah. Actually, I look forward to like racing in all steel, all glass, especially out there at Rico Dragway. Shout out to Rico, but
how all steel, all glass is there all steel, all glass?
To be honest, I don't even care. It's just me getting in the beams with the big boys, Feel like that little kid coming from middle school going straight to varsity. I'm just glad to get some playing time, I might slip up and get somebody slipping, but hey, I'm having fun.
Yeah.
Good time. I ain't worry about nobody stiffing
me. They got to cut the same light he got to cut. That's what my man said.
Exactly.
So when you also swapped over to World of Boost as well, you're not in A anymore. So what'd you go with?
So he went with on 3. Yes, you got to put it on and off about 3 times, but that's Anthony Ballard's problem there. He did all that work, so shout out to Anthony Ballard. We went twin 67s on it.
Okay. That's pretty respectable size.
Oh, yeah.
For that. Actually, speaking of Zach again, Zach is going to come out here a whole lot, because that's just the crowd that we're in. Zach and Logan and all of them. He, I guess he's making some kind of change. I don't know 100%, but he wanted to know if I wanted to buy his 66s. And I was like, that's too small, though. Yeah. That's too small. I'm not doing that.
A lot of the fast guys, like all doing those guys over there in Texas that really do like R&D on S550 stuff, they're flying with them.
Oh, yeah. I mean, the 6870 from Precision, the 67, on 3, those ones you can make good power with it, and it's not, the car's not going to struggle with it. once you start going up in those 72, like it can take a 72 pretty easy. But once you go above that, the Coyotes, you got to start doing some tricks to get it up on the boost.
That nitrous on that thing.
Yeah. Well, then it's a triple power adder.
Come on now.
Yeah.
Come on now.
Okay, so are you in the camp of twin turbo as a single power
It's a
adder?
single. It's all going into one pipe. Straight like that.
It is a twin turbo.
You got to take him to court with you on that one.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, it's like if someone said, "Hey, I'm having twins," you're like, "Man, that's nice. You're having one baby," right? No, it's two babies.
No,
right?
it's one power adder.
Two turbos.
One power adder.
Yeah, well, I could say the same thing about supercharged nitrous. It's all going into one intake manifold. Saying it's one pipe, that doesn't make a difference there.
That's tough to say though.
I mean, it's tough to say, but it's true, isn't it?
If you look at it in that aspect, maybe.
Or the Pittman's famous, it's just for cooling purposes.
Yeah, that's all it is, man.
It's only meant for cooling purposes. I heard that one. I laughed out loud. I was like, no, man, it's nitrous. Nitrous is nitrous. But we have to, if we're on a supercharger, we have to have the nitrous just to try and keep up with you twin turbo guys.
Yeah.
But, yeah. So, you made the changeover. You went to Turbo 400. You put twin turbo set on it. How has it been competing? Going forward. You and I did try to line up that one time at Galat.
Yep.
They shut down the lanes on us.
Sure did. I was looking forward to that.
Yeah, it was going to be a lot of fun. Because you and
got saved.
Well, it was funny. We both made the swap at the exact same time. And I don't know. Somehow you and I just kind of ended up there. At the exact. We both made the same decision at the same time, and both ended up in the same groups at the exact same time.
Yep.
And so it was one of those but we've never run each other. We've never managed to actually pull off a race. So
we're gonna have to get all the subscribers to see if we can get that lined up, man.
Dude, once I get emotional damage down, I'm down to race anybody.
So what we racing for? Waffle House.
Oh, yeah.
That's usually to go to Waffle House.
I'm down for
Waffle
that.
House and a
Waffle House, babe.
Waffle House and a beer or something.
Yeah, well, they don't sell beer at Waffle House.
Well, we can bring the beer to Waffle House.
We'll do that at the track.
There you go. But yeah, that one of the few races I'm like, man, I wish we could have gotten that off because I think we were both pretty tight that night. Both cars were on point that night.
Yeah,
it's
been real good because I've been watching y'all from I wouldn't say the first season. David Braxton had the daily driver rules out where it was 590 index.
Yep.
So I'm like, I'm round about that. It should be a good race then. And then he scrapped that. I'm like, uh-oh. So it wouldn't be too bad if I had raced you just to see where I was at. I need to go back to the drawing board or something. But, yeah.
Yeah.
I think it'd been good.
Yeah. So I did see you run a couple 252 events, or one or two of them at least.
Yeah, it was
you were
about
out there
one.
hurt for, and you and I made a little bit of controversy that day. so and you can say on your side whatever you were doing, but the rules stated it had to be foot brake only.
Foot brake only.
But we could use two-step. Because you were the only turbo guy out there, and you really need the two-step to get any kind of boost up to get that thing to leave.
Yep.
Right? So I understood the rules for it, right? So, but he made that rule change the day before the race, right? So I literally, in my garage, disconnected the trans brake. It was looped into itself, plugged into itself, could not be activated in any way, right? And I put the two-step on a momentary switch on the brake pedal.
Yep.
And it was, if I had that brake pedal shoved into the floor, then it would activate it, right? I tested it, right? Because that was allowed by the rules.
Yeah.
Right?
Mr. Gray.
Mr.
Gray area over here.
That's not even a gray area. The rule said we could have two-step, right?
Hey,
so
you got to use what you can.
I used it. It did okay, right? It would have taken me some more time to work it out. I ended up just going with stomping on it and going. But I got accused of cheating and using the trans brake almost immediately after that race. and that I think they accused you of it too.
Oh, I'm here now and it's the pass.
Yeah.
Well, look at the camera. I definitely fucking cheated on that one.
You definitely.
We tried to do the wiring thing. I was like, this ain't working. So we brought it up there. We about to do our little shakedown. I got up on the brake, try to get the converter. I'm like, this ain't gonna work. This ain't gonna work. And I seen Brian Pittman over there in my mirror. I'm like, ooh, he's watching. So I left and he was like, a little dud. And then I missed the shift and everything. I was just so frustrated. It was hot that day. I was like, screw it. Went back to the pits. I'm like, well, first round's about to come up. This is about to be ugly. And we just drove 3 hours for nothing. So I'm about to just send it.
At least get a good test pass out of it. If they could disqualify me, we're going to know what we can run.
Exactly. So I was like, well, if I'm going to get disqualified, at least I'll know how I would fit in the pack, right? Mm-hmm. So first round come up. I think we had Al Furbush, I think it was. So we did the burnout. I told Caleb, my crew chief, I was like, listen, I'm going to do the burnout, but I'm not going to stop. I'm going to just keep it rolling, and I'm going to slam on the brakes as soon as I get to, like, pre-stage. And we're not going to have the game where, okay, the supercharged car rolls up and double bolts me. They're going to be like, well, are you going to get on the trans brake now or what? So I'm like, So we're going to eliminate that as soon as possible. Mm-hmm. So I just went ahead and double bulb, kept my foot on the brake, grabbed that trans brake so I don't have to bump it, right? Mm-hmm. So I got it up. The thing was like, brrr. I was like, oh, yeah. I let go of the trans brake. I was like, oop, see ya, Al. And I was already at 60 foot, and he was still taking off. He said he spun, but I don't know. So we were still fighting the issues we are now with the weight bias, I guess, in the front. It's too heavy. So as soon as it plants the tire, there's so much weight on the front, it just noses it down, and then it just unloads the suspension. Al went, gone. I was like, oh, my gosh. Well, better luck next year.
Yeah, I was definitely one of those guys. You make any mistakes, and he will be by you.
And gone. That's a fast car.
Yeah, he's quick, man, and he is a true single power adder. Yeah. It is just a pro charger on that car. I haven't been able to find the nitrous anywhere, so it's just a single power adder for now. But yeah, so you know how you could have gotten away with it, and because I thought about it too. I was like, how can I get away with still being able to use the trans brake? And I honestly thought about wiring the brake lights into the trans brake.
Well, I was going to hold the brake like a little bit longer just to get it to go and then release it. So you couldn't say, oh, the brake light came off. And I was like, screw it. They're already going to it.
Yeah.
I'm pretty straight up,
Yeah, but I was definitely on the brakes on mine. Like you could see the brake lights come on. I guess like one person's phone that had recorded it, like I guess like the settings, you couldn't really see the brake lights. And that was the whole, well, Nate definitely used it too. And I was like, no, I was definitely on the brakes. And I was like holding on for dear life, like, please don't let go, please don't let go, please don't let go. Because I had just gone to the TBMs too. Mm-hmm. And so I didn't know how well they were going to hold.
That's what I was worried about.
Yeah.
I'm like, I don't want to squeeze all that brake pressure right then, and then I really need it at the end of the track, and the line goes away.
Yeah.
That wouldn't be too pretty.
Yeah. That was a race that scared me pretty bad because I went up against Donald.
Yep.
Love Donald. He's an awesome dude. His valve covers lifted. Ooh. Right. He made so much boost it lifted the valve covers and it let out a bunch of smoke. Right. Well, I thought it was me because we had so many problems with the venting of the Turbo 400. Like they didn't tell you, hey, you got to like have it go into a catch can. That was nowhere into the instructions. They just said, oh yeah, just vent it. Right. Yeah. What they didn't say is it's going to shoot out a whole bunch of fluid pretty much every time you drive it.
Yeah.
Right. We're all new to this. We're young. We don't know what we're doing. My team has never run a Turbo 400. Right. And so I thought my Turbo 400 was letting out a bunch of fluid again in my mirror. And I was like, oh no, I'm oiling down the track. It's me again. And then I look over, I realized it was Donald, and it was a second of, oh, it's not me. And then, oh no, Donald, come on, man, But he was okay, and the track cleaned up pretty quick. It burnt it all off for him. So, but yeah, so we had that race with all the controversy. Bygones are bygones, whatever. Yeah. Like you didn't win at the end of the day, so
exactly.
It doesn't matter at the end of the day. I guess the only time I get angry at somebody for cheating is if they cheat and then they win. Right? Yeah. That's where I'm like, okay. And then even then it's like there's certain cheats that I'm like,
why didn't I think of that?
Well, that's what he's really saying.
Exactly.
There's certain cheats where it's like, does it really make a difference? Like the whole heater core thing.
Yeah.
Last year, like you have to have a heater core in it. Really, does that make any difference in the performance of the car one bit at all? No, it doesn't.
No, I think it's just random stuff they point out. Was like, if I was a race car, what would I not have? heater core.
Yeah. Like, I even offered to throw weight in the car.
To make up for it.
When guys were accusing me on that whole problem there. I was like, look, I'll throw 50 pounds in the car right now. I can tell you my heater core does not weigh 50 pounds. It weighed 6. It made no difference whatsoever, But, it's just they want something to gripe about. And I didn't end up winning, so it didn't matter at the end of the day. I snapped an axle.
It's just how it goes.
Yeah, dude.
I swear in racing.
Dude, how sickening is that feeling when she snaps an axle?
So when we were at Rico and we had that race, it was like, okay, we had to come off the trailer. We had to race a Cadillac, give them the back tire. And it was supposed to be a heads-up race. We were like, screw it. We're just here to race, So I turned the boost up on it on some stock axles. So I was like, it's got a boost control. I can ramp it out some so it doesn't initially snap. Well, I didn't think about it. I was in a rush, turned it up, got it up on the two-step, and Cadillac left. Then I left. It got up on the tire. I was like, oh, man, this is like going to be a PB right here. This thing is on top of the tire, and it's going. Nose is up pretty. About the best it's all been ever since I had that car.
Mm-hmm.
And then, pow, snap back to reality, as Eminem would say, and the whole nose of the car just drops. Cadillac goes A to B, straight down the pike. And I'm like, oh, no. Please, God, don't let this be the transmission. I'm broke already as it is. I'm eating ramen noodles at work, so I'm just trying to get by.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And so we got out the car and pushed it back. We got on the trailer.
You hear the
So I'm like, shoo, thank you.
Yeah.
It ain't the trans.
I can do that in 20 minutes.
Yeah, like somebody just went through with a saw, just a clean cut. I've never seen anything like it.
Oh, dude, it's amazing.
Yeah.
It's absolutely amazing. So, but you've only been through that once, have you?
Yep, just once.
Twice. Jacksonville and Kinston.
I did it once at Galat. I stripped the clutch at Jacksonville. That's when I was still MT82. I hated that thing so much. Okay, just pause on that one real quick. Did you find when it was the MT82 that you pretty much had to guess on the 2-3 shift?
Oh, man, I get embarrassed so bad. People are like yelling at me, you can't drive. You need a driver mod. Give me $20 and I'll drive that thing for you. I'm like, shut up.
Yeah, you've never tried to 2-3 shift one of these things. It's like 2-3.
Yep.
It's like, because what it wants to do is 2-5. I don't know why it wants to do that. It's just like 1, 2, 5. It's like that. And if you go a little too quick, it just jams it.
Yeah.
Just like
hit that wall.
That stupid little piece of plastic there goes. It goes. No, you can't go in. And then you go in, and it's like it was so frustrating. And people accuse me of granny shifting it because I'd be in there 1, 2, 3, 4. And you're not even in 1-to-1 until 5.
Mm-hmm.
Fifth gear is 1-to-1 on those suckers. So yeah, I looked at going the built route. I looked at going the Tremec 4-speed or something like that, and I was like, nah, screw it.
Yeah, to me, it wasn't really worth it trying to do all that unless you specifically want to be in the stick shift class.
Or running quarter mile. I mean, that's where you're going to get your mile per hour at. Just running that 1-to-1. You got to get, like you said, you got to get in fifth gear. But I was at the track the other week, man, and there was a car that still had one of those in it. I swear it sounded like that car shifted 10 times. They just keep shifting and keep shifting and keep shifting. I believe he went in the last gear when he made the turn. I mean, that's how many times it sounded like.
Yeah, I mean, and there's really no good way either to power shift them.
Mm-mm.
Right? You have to push the clutch in.
You technically just can't do it.
Yeah.
Realistically.
Yeah, the MT82 just will not take it. I bent the shift forks on mine. I was like, either I get this thing fixed or I sell it for $500 and some guy can get it fixed himself and I can just get a Turbo 400.
They did have a brace kit for it, so to keep it from like twisting.
That blowfish one or whatever.
Yeah.
They don't make it anymore.
Nope.
Like,
they couldn't keep them in stock. Get in there.
Well, and look, I gave it every fair shot. I did a twin disc from McLeod. I didn't go with the triple disc because I was like, I don't have that much money. I did the twin disc. I did the short throw shifter. I did. I tried out that man's brake.
Mm-hmm.
Did you ever see that thing?
Yep.
And it kind of worked. It kind of didn't. It was actually that's when I snapped my second axle. I was using the man's brake on at Kinston, and it basically was it a way of slipping the clutch for you hydraulically. right? So you just pushed your clutch into just the point where it was just grabbing, right? You grab the man's brake, you took your foot off that, you put your foot on the brakes, right? And then you just let go of the man's brake, and it would slip the clutch for you, right? Burn up your clutch, but you know,
at least you can make one race.
No, I mean I made several races with it, but if you tightened it, it would go quicker. If you loosened it, it would go slower. And I tightened it a little too much, and it just went pow, pow, and just snapped another axle. And I had to get towed all the way back because I wasn't trailering yet,
Oh, man.
which was a really dumb decision on my part. You know, stick shift racing and not trailering the car. So, you know, but actually that was probably one of the funniest drives I've ever had back. That tow truck driver was hilarious. And he picked me up. He was just like, "Man, you just saved me from a fight for my wife. She was loading up and getting ready to go." And I was like, and then you called, and I'm like, "Oh, honey, I got to go save this guy." You know, he refused to go above 50 miles an hour because it was a brand new engine in the truck. And so it was the slowest drive from Kinston to here I've ever had. So, but this is racing though, man.
Exactly.
Like racing is just
that is everything in racing, and that leads me to one of our questions.
Mm-hmm.
Bojack, what's one of the craziest things that's happened to you on the way to a track, or in between rounds, or on the way home from the track that you can recall, to either for you to make it to the next round, or just like you said, just getting to the track? What's one of the craziest things you remember?
Oh, man. I think we was at Rico in the dead of heat, just shaking the car down.
Mm-hmm.
You know, everybody give us crap like, "Oh, you drive a Ford truck and you got a race car? That's a Ford?" It's like, man, you're bound to get just left on the side of the road.
First on race day, baby.
Exactly. So the only good thing, or the best thing I could say, so we were in between, about to have first round, about 30 minutes out. We just made a shakedown, and we drove the car back around. We went to start it back up, make sure everything else was good. And then, boom, relay kicked out. I was like, oh, crap. It was one of those small relays that's in the fuse box that's real hard to get to.
Mm.
So we were looking at it, diagnosing everything we could. I'm like, man, I'd hate to do this and just go home and just pack it up over a relay or whatever it could be. So we snatched the relay out of the F-250 and then stuck it in the car, and it fired right up. I was like, ooh, great. Everything's working. So then I was like, boys, if we win this, I don't know how we're going to get home, but this would be
Snatch
pretty
the relay
interesting.
back out again.
Yeah, exactly.
Hey, that's the stories you want to hear. So what did you do that night? Did you go in the next round, or?
We went a couple rounds, and then we spun, and then, yeah.
Hey, as long as you make it to the next round, man, that's all. You're like, you know what? Next time that happens, you guys know what to do.
Exactly. It was just the thought of us as a team working together and going through all like troubleshooting steps. Like, what if it's this? What if it's that? Okay, we ruled that out. I don't have a full racing operation, so I didn't have a full toolbox. She's like, maybe we might need some zip ties and this, that, and the third. And we ain't got these tools to check everything.
So my philosophy for racetrack tools, I will only buy cheap Chinese crap and like stuff from like Harbor Freight, because my philosophy is that they're just going to walk away at some point.
Yep.
Right? And that's okay. I'm like, you're going to lend it to somebody, they're going to forget to bring it back, or one of your buddies is going to be working on something and go, "Hey, I think Bojack's got that. I'm going to just borrow that real quick," and then he'll forget to give it back. You know, or they're just going to get lost, dropped in the grass or something like that. So my philosophy has always been, these are temporary tools. It's perfectly okay, and I'm going to lose them. You know, and that's fine. You know, I spent $2 on them. You know.
So, in other words, don't use your finance tools at the track.
Do not bring your Snap-on. Do not bring your Matco. Leave those at home where you can work on your car in peace and no one's going to steal it. The other part is, if you own a black car, do not buy black tools.
Ooh.
They meld in perfectly with everything.
Yep.
You know,
sure
I discovered that one the hard way. And, don't do that anymore. It's, you know, luckily for me, it just fell off the car, you know, but I'm driving, I hear tung, 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 and someone brought me my 10 mil. I was like, wow, you actually found it.
I'm surprised you got that back.
I'm surprised I got it back too.
It was looking a new home.
Yeah. They should
Yeah.
have pocketed that one.
Yeah. But I'm lucky though that it fell on the ground and it didn't go in somewhere else that was more important, you know. So, but actually the scariest one that I had to think about the last time I snapped an axle on emotional damage was out at Kinston for the Renegade race. And when it snapped at the hub. And have you ever seen the ball bearings that are in those suckers?
Mm-hmm.
They are like that big. It shot, and you can see in the video, it shot 5 of them out from under my car. And they are red hot when they hit the ground and go out. Luckily, nobody got hit.
That's buckshot there.
You know, it was like buckshot, but like we found 3 of them. You can see in the video 5 come out. So 3 of them were recovered. Where the other 2 went, who knows?
Probably in somebody's low mount turbo.
Yeah. Hopefully it's not in somebody's, like, thankfully it didn't go in somebody's leg, you know? That's my only thing I always say about, like, tracks that let people stand right up close. Like, there's some fun in it, but then there's also, like, look, you don't know what that car's about to do. If it's a Dodge Demon, it might just let the rear gear out of it, off the line. Have you ever seen them do that?
Yeah, I've seen that.
Yeah, I saw 2 do that at Galot at the same time. They lined up against each other, went, boom. Yeah.
I think the scariest thing I've seen at the track was at Nahana. We were all looking down track as they went down.
Well, that's just being,
and you can hear like an extinct sound of like a car. You know, when you get up on the track, you kind of want to knock the dirt off your tires and everything, get all the rocks and stuff off. Well, we're looking down, but on the left side of my ear, I'm like, man, this dude didn't get off the gas yet. The next thing I know, it's like, boom. Dude goes straight through the guardrail. Yeah.
Headed towards the tower.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
And I was already behind the guardrail, but I was like near the starting line. Yeah. So I was like, ooh, what if he hits the guardrail and just keeps going? It's like, we might get wiped out here, but that's my ignorance. Everybody wants to be in the, in the crowd and looking around.
Well, it's almost like being in your backyard. All of us have our home tracks. And at your home tracks, you kind of let your guard down a little bit more. You're like, I go where I want to here. I know the track owner. He knows me. But you still have to be very on point. I mean, you're talking about any time, especially nowadays, any 2 cars that line up, you're looking at anywhere from 1,200 to 2,400 horsepower on the line at any given time.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, from stock to built.
I mean, it's so easy, especially with these Coyotes. Stock motor, don't touch anything, 1,000 horsepower.
Yep.
Easy.
So things come apart very quickly, especially in a burnout, man. When people forget to turn the rev limiter on. Yeah, good God. I've seen all kinds of stuff. I don't know how many times I've seen where one guy didn't get the back one tire wet, and you see if you could see them inside their car, their eyes get great big when that thing just starts to go, and they're turning as hard as they can, and the car's still going towards the crowd,
or even standing behind a car doing a burnout. Yeah. The whole purpose of the burnout is to clean your tires off, right? Clean your tires off, get them a little bit warm, right? I've made the mistake of like walking behind a car doing it and getting pelted in the side of the head with, a rock or a piece of rubber or something, right? I don't know what it was. All I know is it hurt.
Yeah, we had that a lot. I don't know if the dude lived like down this humongously long gravel road, but it was the big rocks that came out from up under his tires, and it's like a big tire bracket car. And when them things came out, it hit my buddy's windshield. It left like a nick on it and everything. I'm like, oh my gosh, you should have did something to get them rocks out or something.
Well, there was one guy there one night. He was running that lot, and he didn't know it wasn't a quarter-mile track, and he just held it.
Yeah, I remember that.
And just went all the way through and ended up on the rocks. I mean, he barely saved it. Came right back up for the next round, and the rocks were going everywhere. He spent 20, 30 minutes in the pits getting all the rocks out. No, they were lodged up everywhere in that car.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, anytime you're at the track, man, especially guys are out there testing, tuning their cars. I mean, testing, tune nights, race day is one thing, but testing, tune nights, anything come out there, man. And people drag them things out of their backyards, wherever.
There's a guy who takes his RZR down there all the time, like a lot, and it's not like it's got like drag slicks on it. It's got like off-road knobbly tires on it, and they just take it down the track. I'm like, hey, it's Galot. Cool. Do whatever you want. Test and tune, But yeah, I would be scared to go off the end of the track at Galot because it's the sand trap, right? So like it's like that really loose kind of sand. Yeah. So it's meant to like sink the car in it. But like 2 times I've seen cars go in it. They're like up to the doors. Mm-hmm. It's like quicksand, just and I'm like, oh man, I'd hate to clean the car after that.
I'd rather do that one than go to like some of these other outlaw tracks and there's pine trees on the other end.
Mm-hmm.
That is
yeah, like at the end of Kinston.
I mean, a lot of the outlaw tracks are like that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Unfortunately.
there's so many. Well, it's better than the one you mentioned earlier, where there's action on both ends of the track.
Nahunta? Yeah.
Yeah, I'm really wanting that to come back out though. I'm really hoping they can get the doors open back up to that place.
Yeah,
It's
me too.
fun. It's fun, man. It's packed house.
Have they fixed the divot in Nahunta yet, or is it still there?
I couldn't tell you.
I remember it's one of the lanes. I can't remember which one has like a little bump in it.
I think it's the left lane.
Yeah, and like, you feel it when you hit it, and you feel your back tire start to unload a little bit, and the butt pucker is real on that one.
That's the notification to go from the gas to the brake.
Yeah.
That track.
Yeah. Have you ever run a Z-Max?
No, never have.
So Z-Max actually has the similar thing. It's in both lanes, and it's like you can't see it looking at the track, from up top, but there's a tunnel that goes under there. When you go over that tunnel, you can just barely feel the car do that, and you'll see guys get on the brakes because they think, oh, the car, like something's wrong with the car.
It's unloading.
And it's not. It's not going to unload. It's perfectly fine. It's because it's not that big of a dip, right? It's not enough to upset the car, right? But you feel it.
At that speed, you feel it.
You feel it, and you go, and you have to just remember, like, it's okay. The car's okay. We're going to be fine. If they can take top fuel cars down there, we can take our cars down there,
Easily.
Yeah. Yeah. Actually, speaking of the burnout, I saw one top fuel car recently. He did his burnout and the throttle stuck. So he just went down the entire track, just like boom, in like 5 seconds. And they have a kill switch. The guy at the starting line has a kill switch, so he killed it halfway down the track, but it still went the entire distance. Before they could get that thing stopped.
Yeah, the burnout is I'd say the most sketchiest part of drag racing, especially when you go somewhere and it's like people up to your door and you got the tunnel vision just looking, just me and my lineup guy, me and Caleb, and we just locked in trying to do that burnout without trying to kill anybody or the tire kicking out and mowing somebody down. That's the most sketchiest part. I'm like, okay, I made it. Straighten it up.
Yeah, but that's like Fayetteville is bad for that. They let people they won't even leave you a path, right? So you're doing the burnout, and you might be able to see the track through two of them, right? And they're like, oh, don't worry, they'll move. I'm like, yeah, but what if they do body damage to my car? Who's paying for it? It's like, do I have to pay their medical bill if I hit them? Like,
nope,
I'm not
going
doing
straight
that.
To the trailer. Good luck.
Yeah, good luck.
Good luck, everybody else.
Yeah, I wasn't there that day. I don't know who you're talking about. Yeah. Oh man.
So on your car, that's something I want to ask you. Are you running a radio now? Are you running slick? You switch up
we're
between?
still on radios.
You on radio?
315, yeah.
315.
Trying to put a little bit more down to the ground.
So still on 17s.
Yeah, unfortunately.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I made the swap over to 15s, and I did the, because for the S550, there's no great way to do it. You either have to get that, it's like a 9.3-inch wide wheel, or you have to get a special knuckle, or you do what I did, and you just take a grinder to it, and you just kind of grind it down a little bit.
Clearance.
Get that clearance. Honestly, it's not that bad. Like, guys have been making it out to be pretty bad. You're only really reducing like a 1/4 inch of material from the knuckle, and there's plenty of material there. It's not going to break. So that's what I did, and it worked out. Now, when you clearance it, it doesn't leave much room between the knuckle and the wheel, but those two things don't move, so it's not a big deal. You just got to make sure they didn't put the weights for the wheel where the knuckle hits.
Yeah.
So yeah, last year I ran without weights on my wheels. I was like, nope, knock these suckers off because they're going to hit the knuckle.
Exactly. But yeah, I like those 17s on it, especially the 315s.
Mm-hmm.
She looks real thick in the back. Very thick. 2 C's, no K on the end. Real thick. Yes, sir. I like that.
Yeah. So I saw you were doing some stuff with Brazel
Oh, yeah.
recently. So
Shout out to BPF. That's my man over there.
He's
He gets
helping
it
you
done.
out, guys.
Oh, yeah. Tired of seeing me fail.
Yeah.
So I'm very thankful for that. So it's there now. We're just trying to get all the suspension stuff right.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, really it's just the weight and getting everything, situated. But I'm real new to drag racing, I'd say. So you can hear like other guys and they try to do the cookie cutter setups. Well, I got this, this, and this, and it should run this. It's never that way.
Mm-hmm.
Once you get past that ignorance and actually get the car scaled and get everything professionally done, then your windshield of drag racing really opens up. Like, oh, okay, now all this stuff starts to make sense.
Mm-hmm.
So you can have all the power in the world, but if you don't have a good foundation, you're just gonna sit there and spin even more.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Sometimes it's a matter of getting out of your own way. You know, being like, okay, you know what? I'm not God's gift to racing. You know, I don't know everything, and you know, I need to step back and find people who do, and then when they give me advice, listen to them.
Yep.
You know, I don't. There's so many guys that we race with, you know, that we know out there that, you know, they know it, they figured it out, right? I'm like, I mean, you're still losing, so, you know, if you figured it out and you know everything, why aren't you winning every single race, right? You know, but that's why we call it racing. We don't call it winning.
Exactly. It takes a long road to get there, but I mean, oh yeah, one good key advice I did learn through the racing season and everything, to all the new people out there, all advice isn't good advice.
Yep.
You'll have 30 people in the starting line. Oh, you need to turn it about 3 clicks down and put the boost here. It'll work. Guarantee it. I'm like, you know, I'm racing on my dime here, and if I blow my stuff up, I just go home and go on the trailer and cry about it.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah.
Well, that's something I want to mention. It used to be racing and tuning used to be just a turn of a screw on a carburetor. You used to control all your tuning with how much fuel, how much air, and how much wheel speed. That's what it used to be, everything. But tuning, like you said, with suspension nowadays, I mean, the weight, shifting the weight, having suspension that will shift the weight in the cars. Used to, everyone, you have to physically take weight from the front and mount it in the back, or screw it, or bolt it down. But now you can literally shift it with these two-way adjustment struts in the front, 4 links and everything, man. I mean,
makes the biggest difference on those Coyotes once
different.
you put adjustable front suspension on it, man.
The bias, being able to get the bias nowadays is just as important as the air and fuel ratio at this point. Because if you can't get that car, like you said, your car was unloading when it set back down. If you can't get that car to carry that nose the whole weight, you're not able to shift that weight to the rear tires. I don't care how much little or how much power you throw at it, it's not going to hook. If you're not hooking, you're not going.
We call it porpoising in our cars, or literally we'll do this going down the track, you know, and you know, I'd be willing to bet you and I did similar with the suspension. We're like, oh, I'll get adjustable rear suspension. That'll fix it.
Yep.
Right? So you put that in there, and it makes it a little bit better, right, at first. And then you push it enough where what happens with the front suspension is it goes up, and the Ford valving or whatever is trying to bring that front end back down. And so you get it to come up on plane. It's great. And then it yanks the front of the car back down, unloading the back tires. And so the car settles out again. The back tires go down. The front end comes up. It does it again. Like it just like that. And it is the most frustrating feeling ever.
Guaranteed frustrating, because it's like, okay, I spend countless hours on all the Coyote forums. All right, who's done this? Who made this mistake? What do they do to correct it? And then I go out and spend all this money on these parts that should work, right? And then you get to the track and it's like, it is not working at all. It's unhappy. But you have to realize, too, it's a new setup.
Mm-hmm.
But when you spend that kind of money, you're like, I want it now. It's got to work.
Yeah. And nobody knows your car,
Mm-hmm.
right? You know your car. You know what your car wants, right? Somebody on a forum knows their car.
Yep.
And your car's set up different. The weight is different. The wheelbase is different. Everything about it is different. But, you know, it's one of those, like, you have to, as you said, you have to take all advice with a grain of salt and go, is this good for me? Is this something I should listen to? You know, is the person giving the advice worth listening to? You know, and then are they an LS guy or are they a Coyote guy, right? Or but that makes a difference, right? Because LS, we cannot run nearly as much timing as an LS can, right? But those guys look at it and go, "Oh, you're only running 18 degrees of timing?
Turn it up.
Turn it up. Come on, man. Let's actually let it eat." And I'm like, no. Like 18 to 19, you get there and you stop. You don't really go past that. You know, it's like, well, my LS can do 27 degrees of timing. Like, it's a different motor.
Well, good for you, and go back to the junkyard.
Yeah.
All right.
How about you shift it at 9,000 RPM? See how that goes for you. You know, that's because we can do it. but they can't, you
Nope.
know. But so what's next? What's next for Bojack
Well,
and for Blue Yeti?
for Blue Yeti right now is just making it consistently hook. I think we can be real competitive. I ain't had nobody leave on the tree with me yet, so that's my story, and I'm sticking to it. So if we can get this thing to hook,
I
then
saw
we'll
he had
start adding
receipts
power.
earlier, man. He had receipts in his pocket.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah,
definitely. I ain't had nobody leave. I got videos and everything. Ain't nobody left with me yet. At least in our class and a little bit in all steel or glass, but nitrous cars, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
So, but yeah, going forward, I'm gonna leave it all in Jason Brazel's hand and BPF we trust, and we're gonna get this foundation squared away, and then we're gonna build off of that. And then once we get that squared, I'll be tapping your shoulder.
Yeah.
Say, Nate, how about that pork chop sandwich at Galat? Let me get two of them things.
All right. All right. I'm down, Bo. I'm down. You're going to have to wait a while because she's not done.
Same here, because I'm in between, like, should I just stop now and just save the money or keep spending the money and keep trying it,
Mm-hmm.
It's one of those in-between states. But again, it's like you call your car emotional damage. This is like financial damage. You got to come to a point where, like, all right, I got to stop right here and just regroup. It's the hardest thing to do in racing because, okay, we all got our names. We're trying to live up to it and make our cars faster. And if our cars fall off the map for a little while, they either going to think we're coming out with a pro mod or either we're smoking crack. One or the other. There's no in between.
Yeah. Yeah. No, you really should see it in the group chat that we have. Like, anytime I mention anything, they're like, oh, we knew you're going with pro mod. Oh, you're going X275. Or
Yeah.
you're going with this. Like, and I'm like, guys, I'm not. Like, I'm not made of money. My favorite one that got me to laugh, I've been talking to Josh Peak about doing that class there at Galat. It's all going to be based on weight and all that stuff. Zach goes in there and goes, well, you need to make it overdrive only. You need to sponsor the class, put $10,000 up. It's like, I don't know if you know me, but I'm not made of money, Zach. And my company is not sponsoring that because there's no return on my investment at all. Like, can you show me where I'm going to get $20,000 worth of work out of $10,000 of investment? If not, I'm not interested.
You'll be promoter of the year. There you go.
I would definitely be promoter of the year, but I'm not doing that. I'm not putting $10,000 up for Zach Patterson to go win.
He's king right now. I'd say he's king in OD world.
Yeah, but that's a very specific world that he claims. My thing is that, like, well, we'll see when emotional damage is done, right? But I'm like, look, go up against some actual big boys, some actual race cars. Don't hide behind the OD thing.
Well, that's what they got, and that's what they sticking to it. So.
Yeah. Zach, you're more than welcome to come on the podcast. You can sit right there, buddy,
Zach.
and tell me about how OD is the greatest thing in the entire world.
Yeah, they got that on lockdown, I'd say. I'd put money on that one.
I mean, we'll see. See how long he can enjoy rebuilding that transmission again and again and again.
It's like once you find like your niche and you're good at it, I think that's where it's at. Me being like, I wouldn't say drag racing ignorant. I'm like, ooh, I want to go fast. Okay, but what niche part up do you want to go fast in? You want to be like King OD, or do you want to go like King Daily Driver, or do you want to just go X275, or what do you want to do essentially and be great at it?
I mean, I'm aiming for that extreme street class. That's where I think I'll fit in well.
But that bubble's kind of big though.
It is.
Right.
It is.
It's not like the OD bubble where it's like overdrive, either foot brake or two-step. That's that. Don't care what else you got.
I would rather be a small fish in a big pond than a big fish in a little pond, right? Because there's more races. There's more people. I do get tired sometimes of racing against the same people over and over and over again. I'm like, nah, I'd rather race against somebody else. That's why I like Streetcar Takeover so much.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
It's a new crowd. It's new people I've never raced against before.
To me, like Streetcar Takeover, how big it is, and then you actually go there and like see the guys that are racing. They got fast cars, rich guys. Yes, check the box. Can they drive? Hell no, they can't drive.
Yeah, they all get knocked out in the first round.
Yeah.
But that's fine. Right? It's somebody different. It's something different, and it's a well-run program.
Yeah, definitely.
Which to me that's everything. Like if you're gonna put on a race, it needs to be well run, right? In my opinion, there's no reason other than like an oil down on the track that there should be 3 hours between rounds.
No.
Right? Max, it should be like 45 minutes to an hour. Right? You run, 45 minutes to an hour later, you're back in the lanes about to run again. Now, obviously, if there's an oil down, I get it. Right? You know, and then like obviously as the event goes on, it's going to get quicker and it's going to get quicker, and you've got to be able to turn that car around. You know, and that to me is where street cars really are, right? Is you should be able to turn a street car around in 20 minutes.
Yep.
Right?
Definitely.
Or you realistically should be able to hot lap it. You know, you made that pass, you go right back to the starting line. Right? You know, you might get out and open the hood and be like, you know, come on, get that heat out of here as quick as we can.
Yeah.
But you know, I don't understand this. You know, that's why I gripe about some of the events I go to where you make a pass and then 3 hours later they're like, "Oh, we're about to call you guys up." I'm like, I didn't come here to sit around. I came here to race.
Yeah, you got enough time to grill some burgers and everything. Like, oh, gotta go.
Take a little nap and
Yeah.
Get your reaction time way off.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the
Get
worst
sleepy.
part.
Track conditions change in that time. You know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They last so long. You got to change from radio back to slicks
Yeah.
just so you can finish get the next round.
Yeah.
That sucks, man. But I mean, that's what a lot of racing has been doing this summertime. Man, I've actually seen some racers. They start out with slicks earlier in the day, and then they switch to radials later in the night, and they don't change their car. I mean, they do 2 clicks in the front struts, but that's how they're actually able to stay in the race because it's summertime weather. So I'm looking forward to it cooling off. I'm looking forward to the races that are coming up now. You asked him earlier, what does he have next going on for his car?
Mm-hmm.
There's going to be a little while your car's in the shop. Do you have an expected time frame? I know shops could take. I mean, it takes time.
Yeah, I'm gonna try and shake it down tomorrow at Harold's, see what it do.
Okay.
But I don't expect a whole lot of prep there, and the track hasn't been really testing tuned much, so there ain't a whole lot of rubber. So this would really give us a true baseline of, hey, green track, and then if we go to Galata on the Thursday, okay, we got radio prep, so we got both tune-ups in the car, and we know exactly what'll go.
You got to pull to the far lane and wait for a big tire car to come to the lanes and jump in right behind you.
Yeah.
That's what you do.
Do a big John Force burnout. That's my favorite, especially with that Turbo 400.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody look at me like, how are you doing that burnout like that? I was like, man, I ain't got no line lock or nothing. I'm just sending that little baby.
Mm-hmm.
That little 302 screaming coming out the water box.
Just click into those next gears, get that good wheel speed.
Yeah, I just start out in second and just let it turn over and then mat it on down.
Mm-hmm.
And then as soon as I see it's about to go red line, shift it and just let it roll.
Yep.
It rolls out just as pretty.
How many? We'll end on this. When you made the swap over to Turbo 400, how many times did you accidentally leave in second?
Phew. Man, I was so green. When I first started that car up and was going down the road with it, I was going in reverse pattern. I was going the wrong way with it. So I was like, why does it keep doing this? I'm like, oh, shit. I'm about to blow up this transmission. I had it in like third. I'm like, oh, yeah, I'm about to click this thing like Kai Kelly and slap it forward. Nah, I'm going the wrong way, buddy.
Yep, it's got to go this way, not that way. Yeah.
So I'm at the light trying to take off. This thing's like, I'm like, oh, this ain't good. And like you said, it was puking that transmission fluid everywhere.
Yeah.
It's like, well, this thing, old nice blue car that's sitting over here just smoking at the light. I'm like, oh, crap, I gotta hurry up and get back to the shop. Get back to the shop.
Yep.
That was before the catch can, but yeah.
Yeah, I did that at
Fun
Streetcar Takeover. I left in second, Rockingham, a couple years ago. Left in second, I was like, man, this thing's a turd. Like, what is wrong with this thing? Collected into third, which I thought was second, right? And then like it was picking up, starting to go, and then I went to go grab third, and I was like, it didn't move, and so like I like let off the gas because I thought something was wrong. And like I looked down, realized I'm in third, and I was like, oh great, grabbed the gas, and the guy just came by me at that point. I was like, if I just had kept my foot on the gas, I would have been fine. But I took my foot off the gas to look at the shifter,
Yeah.
and gave him the chance to catch up. And I was just like, oh. So.
But yeah, that's pretty much what we're going to do for tomorrow. Get a good baseline. I mean, if it works out, it works out. If not, we'll change up some more stuff on it.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of skeptical on the 252 deal after reading those rules like 30 times. I'm like, I'm not adding that much weight to the car if I'm trying to take it off the car.
He's kind of changed things around now, where he's kind of pushed everybody just into one streetcar class. That's what he did for the last one. He didn't even do the daily driver one. He just did a streetcar.
So anything streetcar?
Anything streetcar.
Ooh, excellent.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah, Little Heavy was in it, actually. And Lance was in it and a couple others. So I think Lance ended up winning it, actually.
I would suggest you definitely be there for the next one, regardless.
Yeah, because
Mass Traction's going to be there. It's going to be a great event.
Oh, yeah.
And we had the track manager on, Wes Ellis, a couple weeks ago. So just excited to see what that event is going to bring. I know Larry, he had a race back a couple months ago, and it was a pretty good race.
Oh, yeah.
So having a really good surface at that, I think it'd be great. If it was me, I'd be out there testing my car and entering at the same time. So I'm looking forward to a good event. I thought they're going to have a good shakedown. Not to promote that so much, but as far as somewhere local, your own radios,
yep.
I'd be there. They got a Friday night gamblers race, I think they're trying to do for 1 or 2 classes. And then they're going to have all the classes that following day.
Yeah.
So
yeah, should be a good event.
Hoping that'll be a good weather event. You know, North Carolina's been hot as great. I don't know. It's been hot.
Yeah.
And then it's been raining for like the last 3 or 4 days. I started to build a boat. But yeah, look, I thought there's some racing going on today and tomorrow. But man, I might see if I can slip by Heroes. I don't know. I know I have to go to New Bern tomorrow. I might have to see if I can check out the Yeti, man.
Yeah. All right, man. Well, I think we're gonna call it there. So
Sounds good.
This has been a whole lot of fun. Thank you very much for coming on. Where can anyone follow you if they want to?
You can hit me up on Instagram at Southern Carolina. Southern with a Z instead of a S.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. You guys go follow him there. And if you want to follow me, I'm The Fast Plumber on Instagram and on my YouTube.
And I'm Ernie at 105 Life on Facebook, TikTok, and sometimes on YouTube.
Yep. And don't forget to sign the hood before you head out. And thank you very much for coming, man. I look forward to getting that race off one of these days.
Oh, definitely. Definitely can't wait to clap your cheeks. No diddy.
And make sure if you haven't, like, subscribe, share, tell a friend.
Yeah.
And if you haven't been on yet, we want to get you in that seat.
All right.
Come on, Zach.
Yeah, come on, Zach. Get out here. All right. See you next time, buddy.
All right. Thank y'all.